In the words of classic Stan Lee cameos, welcome true believers. It's nice to see you back here. I wanted to talk today about something really cool, which is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2. Now this has been out, I think, for a week now. I'm a little behind, but since these only come out like once a month, I think that we're right on track. The reason this series is so important is because this is essentially the culmination of a lot of the things that fans have been asking for in Spider-Man for years. They've been asking for letting Peter Parker grow. They've been asking for seeing him become his own person, not just a foil for sadomasochism, for like being cucked by another character, having his girlfriend stolen from him because they were trapped in an alternate reality, you know, having another girl dump him immediately. Like, Spider-Man is basically he's just a stomping ground for Marvel to try out new ideas in a lot of ways of like, how do we make this guy suffer? It's not actually even fun anymore. It's not human or relatable. It's just repetitive, boring, and kind of ridiculous, and actually badly written. But the thing with Ultimate Spider-Man as a series is that it takes a look at more of the human side of Peter Parker, and it's not beholden to continuity that came before it. It's not the old Ultimate Universe. It's not the normal 616 universe. It's its own thing. And in this issue, Peter Parker makes a pretty big mistake that I find very fascinating. It's something that I would say is in line with who Peter is as a person, but it's also a lesson that I think a lot of normal people can take away something from. And that's something I'm noticing more and more with this book, with Ultimate Spider-Man, is that it connects with readers on a human level, where there are relatable themes, concepts, and things happening in a world that feels very believable. So before we hop further into it, if you do enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I'm going to be showing a mixture of myself, the comic, and of course as well probably some Spider-Man gameplay, just kind of to spice some things up. And at the end, I have a really cool announcement for you, some new things that we've been working on that I hope you will stick around to find out and enjoy. Also, if you want to support this channel, our Fortnite creator code is DJAY123. You pop that in the store when you're gonna buy something, helps us out a ton. It is supposed to just stay there, but you can always check and make sure it's active because we appreciate you. Now, there's a lot of very fascinating stuff in this issue, but I think the biggest takeaway is the fact that Peter tries to see the good in everyone. It's very Peter Parker of him. No matter the universe, Peter Parker is usually wanting to give the benefit of the doubt, usually wanting to hope that his villains can change and grow, and hoping that he can be a bit of a catalyst for that because of his own mistakes. That's something that this issue really focuses on, because this is a version of Peter, like we talked about before, that hasn't experienced the 20 years of being Spider-Man. In fact, that 20 years of his life was kind of taken from him. Now, during that time, he married Mary Jane Watson, he had 2 wonderful children and started a family, and he is happy, but part of him felt like he was missing something. Part of him felt like there was a longing, like he could be doing more for the world than he was, and that he was just kind of fitting in as a piece instead of actually helping people. I think this is a feeling that a lot of people have, and that feeling of self-discovery and not knowing who you are, that's something that issue 1 really connected with readers on that I thought was really cool. I've seen people use it as an allegory for so many different things in their life about not knowing who they were or not knowing who they are and discovering themselves, whether it be a career, preferences of who you want to date, whether it be like religious belief, whether it be whatever. Like, a lot of people were able to connect with that story because that story is on a base level very human. Everybody goes through periods of their life where they feel like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Regardless of your beliefs, a lot of people will go through that struggle of, where do I fit in? And that's really what issue 1 focused on. But issue 2 is focusing on something very fun that I like, which is now once I start to find that role, once I start to fit into that role, how do I be that person? You know, like, how do I stay true to myself, but also change in order to be the best version of myself I can possibly be? And it's something that Peter Parker finds himself struggling with very deeply because he's been practicing in recent months since the last issue to try and get better at being Spider-Man. He's not used to it. He's not really stopping crimes yet. He's more getting the hang of actually swinging around, landing. I mean, even in this issue, you can see him crash multiple times into things because he's just not experienced. And he's sort of getting a hang of that and trying to figure out how he fits into that world And meanwhile, we see the Green Goblin is also kind of figuring out the same thing, which is leading towards almost a collision course of these two characters as they're going to meet for the very first time. I love that this issue focuses on Spider-Man's stealth suit, which is interesting and different in this. I still have a bit of a fan theory myself that this could be repurposed symbiote, because we do see it expand and retract. Stark had it, and supposedly he had it after they beat the Maker, Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe. If you haven't read that, Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe is a villain, and he was actually using a symbiote as well to augment his abilities, essentially. That's the TLDR. Now, when he was locked away, we don't necessarily know what happened to that symbiote, but lo and behold, Tony Stark gives Peter the spider to be able to become Spider-Man, to become his true self and change, but he also gives him a black suit. And we are shown that retracting in this comic. I'm interested to see if that actually has any connection to the symbiote or technology based off of it, but regardless, that's an aside probably for another day. It's really cool to see though, because this is pretty much the black suit with smaller eyes without the symbol, and Peter doesn't even really have his symbol down. He's figuring out who he is, and he encounters the Shocker for the very first time. And he makes a mistake that I think a lot of people make in life, which is trusting the wrong person. It's very difficult because, like, when you are trying to be a good person, when you're trying to be moral, when you're trying to do the right thing, you want to give people chances. You want to actually make sure that people can be the best version of themselves too, and you don't hamper that, right? That's where Peter finds himself in this issue, and I find it interesting that not once, but twice, he falls for Shocker's trap. Shocker both times is making up some sob story about how, Peter Parker changed his life, or how Spider-Man is going to put him back on the right path, and then he just blasts him. And both times, basically, Peter falls for it because he wants to see the good in everyone. What I love about this, though, is that even though this is an inexperienced Spider-Man, right? This is an older Peter, but he hasn't been Spider-Man. It's still true to Spider-Man. It's true to the Spider-Man mythos. It's true to the lessons that even, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Ditko, all these guys wanted people to be taking away from this character. They wanted them to be seeing this character and wanting to be the best version of themselves. They wanted them to be seeing this character and seeing themselves in this character, seeing the struggle of being a good person or trying to be in a very complicated world, that's difficult to do. And something I love about the Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2 is that it tackles that issue very, very well by showing a more gullible Peter, a Peter who wants to see the good in people but who falls for their crap because of it. And I also love the humanness of this issue because it also deals with his family. May, his daughter, is very scared of Spider-Man. She doesn't know who it is. She's seen him online, and she is kind of terrified of him. And she walks in on him in their place, and Peter pretty much has to reveal his identity to his daughter, which I thought this was a very sweet moment because the comic actually ends, I guess spoiler alert for the final page, it really pretty much ends with May having made a drawing of a spider for Peter because they said that they were going to work on his costume and make it less scary. And I thought this was really fun because it kind of goes through all these different emotions, all these different beats of who Spider-Man is. He's someone who cares about random people, but he's also someone who cares about his family. He's someone who cares about kids and wouldn't want to scare them, but he's also somebody who needs to learn who to trust. I love this series so much. I can't praise it enough because coming out, I was worried that it was going to be too overhyped. I was worried that it was not going to live up to our expectations. How could it? We've had years and years of bad Spider-Man comics and just sadomasochism and self-inserts of weird characters to punish Spider-Man. That it's like, can this live up to what we wanted? And so far we're 2 issues in, and I gotta say it has to me. This has been one of my favorite Spider-Man origin stories ever. It's up there for me with even some of the original Spider-Man origin story stuff because it plays off of missed opportunities, human emotions, emotional beats, and family connections so well. And it's such a human book that I think really deserves the support it's getting. Ultimate Spider-Man comics are selling out, and you know why they're selling out, but Amazing isn't? Because this book is good. Because people want to read a good story about a human character in the fight for good versus evil that gives them hope, that makes them want to be a better person, but who is flawed. This Peter is all of those things, and even though he makes huge mistakes in this issue, like trusting a villain, or even, you know, blowing his cover, blowing his secret identity, like, you know, just very, very shortly into the process of being Spider-Man, he's a good man. And he wants to be a good man and do right by his family and others. It's a message that I think more people need. It's a message that I wish more comics would push, is instead of like focusing on all these trivial things, focusing on the human aspect of these characters and actually getting into the heart of that, because it's really beautiful and it's something I love to see. And I hope you guys will check this out. I know not everybody on this you know, channel reads comics. A lot of people are fans of these characters in video games or movies or whatever. This is a good comic book. This really deserves people's support, so I hope you will check it out. I love it to death. Thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. This has gotten me a lot back into reading comics, so it's very, very special to me. But I did want to say before you leave that we do have an announcement, which is that we have our own store, cosmobunny.shop. These are made with repurposed comic book and manga pages from damaged comic books and manga. You can see that actually in the back of them. Even magazines, like we will get magazines that are too damaged to sell, and we will make stuff out of them from different things, which I think are really, really cool. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because we've lowered our prices. We have a discount code, which is DJAY123. We are making new stuff literally all the time. You can see this right here. These are repurposed. These are actually from an old issue of something that was destroyed. And so what we do is we take those things, we make something out of it, and then you know what we do? We recycle the rest. Local stores that are having a hard time recycling these things or getting rid of them, they give them to us or we buy them at dirt cheap, and then we're able to make something out of them that we think you guys would really like. And you can see there's different things from all kinds of different stuff that you might know or love, and we put a lot of heart and soul into these things. My wife Jill is the mastermind behind this, but I like to think that I help, and I truly love this stuff. I think it's so creative and cool, and I absolutely love how it's turning out. It's getting better all the time. Discount code DJAY123. These are coasters, keychains, trays, there's all kinds of different stuff, and we're making new types of stuff all the time. And if maybe this isn't your thing, you know, maybe you have somebody's birthday coming up, things like that. My wife also makes handmade jewelry over on that website. These are one of a kind or sometimes limited run type things where they, you know, they go for a little bit, and they're really, really cool stuff that I absolutely love. I want to show this one more time because this is probably my favorite thing that Jill has ever made. I absolutely love it. I was distraught to have to sell it. I wanted to keep it for myself, but you know, we can't keep everything, and I want to kind of give back to you guys, and I hope you'll enjoy it because this kind of stuff helps support the channel, and I really love it. One more thing I didn't show that I thought was really, really amazing, and you could see in the background here again, repurposed, recycled paper. I don't know how well you can see it, but this was actually in a damaged book beforehand. Then after that, we take the paper that we don't use, we recycle all of it. That goes in the actual recycling to get reused. We use a portion of it for our own stuff here, and the rest goes back to Mother Nature to get reused. So I hope you will check this out. We love it to death. We love you guys to death. We appreciate you. Fortnite creator code DJAY123. Also our discount code, like I said, for cosmobunny.shop. Hope you all have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.